All right, folks, I think we're going to get started here. First of all, really like to welcome you to the new Women in Leadership WBRG. It's exciting for the kickoff. We're excited to have you here. We've got a lot of great things for you in today's meeting, and then moving forward too, we've got a good plan. So exciting to share all of those details with you. During the presentation, we have a different, a great group of people who are planning on speaking today, some introductions, and some great stories about women in our district and our corporate as well. So let's get started. First, welcome to the kickoff meeting. Jill Rademacher and Tom Nolte are staff sponsors, and Jill would like to say a few words to kick off our meeting. Jill?
All right, thank you, Maria. I'll keep it really short. Just for those of you that don't know me, I'm the Director of Building and Systems Engineering, formerly known as Plant Engineering, or PE. So I'm great to see. I'm just scrolling through, and it's great to have to scroll through to find all the different people that are on this call. So thank you for your time and joining. The team, Maria, the co-chairs have all done a phenomenal job of putting together some good content today. One thing I'd like everyone to take away from this meeting as we go forward at the end is, think about this as a community. If there's things that you want to see or you want to see more of, please feel free to reach out to the chairs or co-chairs to help develop the content for it, because this committee is really should be a reflection of who you are and who we are collectively. So I'm not going to take up too much time, but that's all I have. Turn it back to you, Maria.
All right, sounds good. And as always, ever safety is very important to us here in the district and across the corporation. I'm going to turn it over to Lexi for some ergonomics as we continue to work more from home, and whether we're working directly from home or we're just spending more time at home on our devices. Some good information from Lexi. Lexi?
All right, thanks, Maria. Just want to do a mic check. Everyone can hear me? Thumbs up? Okay, this is the part of the call where everyone's going to start to squirm and move around on their cameras. We are going to talk about workspace ergonomics. I know this doesn't necessarily seem like a safety tip to you right now, but by the time I get to the end of it and you hear about some of the repetitive motion injuries and things that can come from an improper workplace setup, you'll be thinking a little differently. So the average cost of a chronic low back disorder is about $100K. Now, studies have shown that ergonomic design in your workspace, whether you're at home or you're at the office, can reduce injury and pain. And it can also boost your productivity and your overall satisfaction in your workspace as well. So a few of the things we're going to talk about: chairs, desk heights, monitors, how your keyboard and your mouse is an important factor as well, eye protection, having a zoned workspace, and then we'll talk a little bit about lifestyle as well. So Maria, if you could go on to the next slide, please. So to start off with, choosing a chair is very important. Your chair height, your chair should be adjustable. When you're seated, your feet should be flat on the floor with and your knees should be at a 90-degree angle. If your feet are dangling, you should use a footrest. If you are at home, small box, step stool, stack of books, flipped over laundry basket can all be sufficient footrests. A backrest should provide adequate lumbar support. It should be upright with a slight backwards lean of about 15 to 10 degrees. Now, your armrests on your chair should be adjustable as well. They should gently support your forearms when your elbows are bent at about 90 degrees. The depth of your seat is important. That should be about 17 to 24 inches. So when your back is against the backrest, there should be about 2 to 3 inches of space between your back, the back of your knees, and the seat. Now, desk height is also important because a too high desktop will cause strain on your forearms as you type. And then if you have an overly low desk, it will cause you to hunch over as you work, straining your back and your shoulders. So how do you know if you have the right desk height? Your legs should fit comfortably under the desk if you are sitting with your feet flat on the floor. So you should have enough space to cross your legs underneath your desk. The angle between your forearm and upper arm should be about 90 to 110 degrees while your arms rest on the desk. Now, just as important as the proper desk height is your ability to adjust throughout the day. So altering your posture throughout the day not only helps you fight fatigue, it also helps prevent repetitive motion-related injuries. Now, if you're at home, a typical kitchen or dining room table is usually about 28 to 30 inches. So the height of your table should be fine for setting up a home office there. If you have like a higher style cafe counter kitchen table that you're working at, that makes a great standing desk. If you are planning on sitting, you want to make sure that you have an equal height chair to make sure that that is an adequate workspace for you. Now, if you don't have access for a desk or countertop or anything like that, there are a couple of things you can do. I found these pretty interesting as I was kind of searching ergonomics. You can, if you have a bookshelf with removable shelves, you can take your books off, stack them up about 28 inches high, and set you want to make sure this is sturdy, please, before you do this. And you can set your bookshelf on top of that to be able to sit underneath. Another thing you can do is you can stack the books up on the side, flip over a laundry basket to set your laptop up on as another option for a desk if you don't have the ability to sit at the kitchen table. Now, Maria, next slide, please. Monitor position. It may not be the first thing that you think of if you're experiencing pain or fatigue at the computer. However, a very badly placed monitor can cause neck and shoulder pain, headaches, and other symptoms that you may tend to blame on your chair or your desk height or just other factors. So some of the things to look at in your monitor position is your distance. You want to make sure that it's about 20 inches in front of you or at arm's length. If you put it too close, obviously it's going to strain your eyes. And if you put it too far away, it's going to make you slouch over to read what's on your screen. An angle, you want to make sure that your monitor is placed at about 10 to 20 degrees. Greater angle will cause you to hold your head at an uncomfortable angle, again, leading to strain in your neck, strain in your shoulders. The height is important. Now, the way it should be set up is the top line of your screen should be at or below eye level. Tilting your head back to try to read your monitor can lead to headaches and, again, more neck pain. And then lighting is important. If you are lucky enough to have a window in your office space, you want to try to avoid facing it or sitting with your back to it. Place your monitor and your desk perpendicular to the window. That works best. Whatever kind of light you use, you want to position your monitor so that there's no distracting glare on it where it would strain your eyes. Now, you may need to get creative when you're adjusting your monitor height. So sometimes you can use a small stack of books. Amazon has plenty of resources to lift your monitors up. I got myself like a $20 nice little desk with some shelves right off Amazon to put in my office. And next, computer glasses are pretty important. You don't want to neglect your eyes. The blue light emitted from all various electronic devices with a screen has been shown to cause eye fatigue and even blindness. So fortunately, we have technology that can help us with those problems. Computer glasses, there are a ton of options online compared to where it was about 2-3 years ago. You can get a $20 pair, you can get a $70 pair. If you are a person that wears glasses already, I do know that you can have that built into your lenses. It is a great option. I have had the pair I have on right now for probably about 2-3 years, and I notice the difference when I'm at the screen all day and I am not wearing them. It's a little harder to sleep at night. There's a couple other things that go along with it, but I definitely recommend that you try it out. I was a little skeptical at first, and then I thought, well, what's it going to hurt for me to put a pair of glasses on my face? And I've definitely noticed the difference. So definitely look into that. Now, Maria, if you can move on to the next slide, please. So we'll talk about the keyboard and mouse selection. It's pretty important to get the placement and angle of your keyboard right. Now, many office workers typically suffer from tendonitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, and other repetitive strain injuries that are caused by poorly designed keyboards or mice or how they're positioned. Some of the things that are very important in the placement, again, is distance. You want to make sure that your proper sitting posture dictates where your keyboard should be. So your elbow should be comfortably at your side rather than in front of you or behind you. If your keyboard has a number pad, this is something that I just learned recently, your keyboard should be lined up where the B key is directly in front of your navel, and that is the centering for your keyboard. The angle is important. The keyboard should have a slightly negative angle of about 15 degrees. So in other words, your keyboard should tilt away from you and not forward towards you like most of our keyboards do. Traditional keyboards are typically flat. They have the two little feet that tilt the keyboard up towards you. This causes you to type with flexed wrists. It leads to wrist strain, carpal tunnel syndrome over time. So consider looking into ergonomic keyboards or a keyboard tray to get that important negative tilt in your keyboard. It keeps your hand and wrist in the neutral position when you're typing. Moving into the height of your keyboard, again, your posture and desk height dictates the correct height of your keyboard and mouse. Your forearm should be roughly parallel to the floor and your wrists straight rather than bent. So if your desk is too high to allow this, you can use a keyboard tray or a drawer to place your keyboard in to get the right height. Again, with my desk setup, my desk at work is too high. So I had to get another thing I was able to order off of Amazon, a keyboard tray. It's got two little clamps that clamp right onto my desk, and it's got a pull-out tray right underneath for me to have a really comfortable area to type with. So there's a lot of ergonomic keyboards online and mouses. I know if any of you know Mark Condiff is very famous for his ergonomic mouse. People take a look at it and say, what is that spaceship? He had tons of wrist pain, and when he switched to his ergonomic mouse, he said it helped out quite a bit. So another thing to look into if you're having any kind of pain or discomfort from a long day of typing or you're using your mouse as we move into more of a technology advanced age. You guys can check your mute buttons, please. I think we've got somebody that's not on mute here. And Maria, if you can move on to the next slide, please. All right, so second to last thing I'm going to talk about is your workplace zones. Things that you use all the time have to be comfortably within your reach, and resources you use less often obviously need to be easy to find. So there are several studies, and the experts recommend that you divide your desk into what they call reach zones, arranging items according to how accessible the need is during the course of your workday. The first zone is where you can easily reach by just moving your forearms horizontally with your elbows remaining comfortably at your side. This area is normally dedicated to your keyboard and your mouse. Usually nothing else should be in this zone unless you use it as much as your keyboard or mouse. The next zone is reachable by extending your arms, but without leaning or bending at the waist. So this is a good area for things that you use frequently, such as reference books, notebooks, any kind of stationery that you refer to, cell phones, anything that you are grabbing frequently. And your third zone is reachable by extending the arms or bending or leaning at the waist. Although you can reach the zone without standing up, it's not comfortable to do so frequently. So this is a good area for things that you just use occasionally. If your area extends beyond the zone, for example, if you have vertical shelving above your desk or anything like that, that should be used for storage only. It's not something that you constantly want to be reaching for. And then the last thing that I will talk about is lifestyle. So sometimes we think that our workday is something, we think of it as something we have to get through. We can take the proper care of ourselves when we get home and on our days off. But the reality is a big part of our lives are at work, whether we're in a home office, whether we're in an actual office. It shouldn't mean that our health and happiness should be put on pause during that time. So you don't want to necessarily revamp your entire life, but take a look at some of the things that I'm about to talk about. Chances are you can make some sort of improvement in at least one of these areas and see some positive results. So as we talk about diet, there's no miracle diet that will take away from any sort of repetitive injury or repetitive strain. However, healthy foods such as fruits and vegetables, fatty fish have been shown to reduce inflammation, while refined carbs and processed foods tend to make it worse. So try getting more vegetables, whole foods into your diet, especially eating a healthy lunch at work. Exercise, you want to make sure that you approach any problems you have from both directions, so diet and exercise. Ergonomics adapts the environment to make your tasks easier on your body. And while exercise adapts your body to make it more resilient to the effects of your work and environment, both stretching and resistance exercises have been proven to help. So think about sneaking in a 30-minute walk into your daily lunch break, for example, parking on the other side of the parking lot to get those extra steps into the guard shack, just getting up and walking out of your office. I know we can all get chained down at our desks for a long period of time. Those little things can definitely help. Every 20 minutes, a study shows you want to get up and be moving around from your desk. So for those of you who are able to work at a standing desk or can find some sort of way to adapt that into your workday, it is definitely a good idea. So that concludes my information on the ergonomic workspaces. I do have some articles that I will put out on our UPSers community page for you guys to access with a lot of this information. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart, being a safety professional, and also I went through January, February, and March of last year with debilitating neck pain. Had to go to the chiropractor to find out that some of the things I was doing in my personal life and how my desk was set up at work needed to be corrected, and I wish it wouldn't have taken a severe pain and not being able to turn my neck one day when I woke up to figure that out. I'm glad I caught it early, and it's something that I can correct going forward. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out for me. And Maria, I will turn it back to you.
All right, Lexi, thank you very much for putting this together. It's always good to learn before you end up actually having a challenge, and appreciate you sharing your personal story along with details. And like you said, we will be posting this out on the WBRG resource pages so that if you have more information in the stories, you can follow up there. So just kind of a brief introduction of the people here who help with the BRG. My name is Maria. I'm a senior account manager here in the Twin Cities area, and looking forward to kicking this organization back off and contributing to our women who work here at UPS. Nicole?
Good afternoon. I'm excited for this kickoff meeting, excited to see a lot of new faces and meeting everyone and networking through the WBRG. As I mentioned, I'm Nicole Deschler. I'm a senior account executive out of Wisconsin, and look forward to talking with all of you over the next year or so.
Lexi?
All right. Hi, I'm Lexi DeQuinzio. For those of you who do not know, I am a health and safety supervisor, and I support the transportation side. I have the hubs, feeders, and gateways for Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota. So I've got some miles that I cover. I'm available to resources in any of those areas. I've been on the BRG, the WBRG for, oh gosh, probably about 3-4 years now. I absolutely love some of the ideas that we've come up with for this year, and I'm looking forward to what our members are going to bring to the table, and I look forward to everyone having a seat at this table. Katie?
Lexi, did you notice I put on my computer glasses just for you?
Nice work. I like it.
I went and bought some. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Jo Swagert. I go by KJ. I'm an international account executive in Alexandria, Minnesota, so about north central. I'm like Lexi, I handle the Dakotas as well. So we'll be supporting the BRG in-person efforts, hopefully someday here soon, right? In those nether regions. So thanks for joining us.
Shelley?
Okay, and my name is Shelley Perez-Dixon. I am in the WLD for the Iowa section, and also looking for anybody that wants to join me or help me for Iowa, because it is, a lot for one person. So I am an enterprise account executive, and I cover probably half the state of Iowa for the enterprise side. So, and look forward to all the fun this year. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, we have Jill and Tom, who are our staff sponsors. We thank them for their sponsorship. Jill, would you like to start off? I know you introduced yourself earlier, but we did have a few people join the call, so.
Sure. Okay, my name is Jill Rademacher. I am the Director of Building and Systems for the district. I've been with UPS about 9 years at this point, and spent 6 of it here in the Minneapolis area. Again, just excited to be a part of the team and see what this group has put together and where it'll go this year. Tom?
Good afternoon. Sorry for joining late. I apologize. I was on a corporate call, but I too am excited. I got a couple things I want to share kind of at the end of this. Did a little prep work for this on why I'm excited to be part of championing this mission of Women's BRG. Looking forward to it. Not to date myself, but September will be year 30 for me. So I got just a few more years than Jill. I think this is now May will be year 3. So this is year 3 for me in the Twin Cities and Northern Plains. So excited to be part of it. Looking forward to what we can accomplish as a team.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So really with the kickoff, what's next, right? We really have followed the corporate mission statement to be an advancement platform for women at UPS and to translate women's voices and unique points of view into business innovation and growth opportunities. And really that's our mission. That's, reaching out. We've got some folks here later on in the presentation to kind of talk about what that corporate aspect looks like. And then as well, what we're trying to do. Of course, diversity and inclusion is a very important mission here at UPS, locally and across the world. And so really making sure that we are respectful and then also learning, right? There's some different pieces when you get on a call with some folks and things that you might not even think about that then change your mind and make sure that we're being diverse and including everyone in what we are trying to accomplish, both from our people perspective and our customers as well. So what's next? So there's a lot of great things going on here at the WBRG. We're talking about doing some happy hours, some volunteering, some trivia nights, local events to give you guys UPS exposure, lunch and learns, leadership panels, networking, all more to come. We're going to be holding some monthly meetings here internally, and then we will be updating our WBRG page on upsers.com. More to come, plus we'll be sending out some more information. So looking forward to launching here in 2020 and creating some different and some exciting activities for us all to participate in. I'm going to let Nicole take over from here.
Actually, it's Shelley. Thanks, Maria.
Shelley.
No worries. I am excited to tell you guys about a new, basically, recognition platform we're starting for the WLD, and it's called ROCK. So what we're doing is recognize one member each month, and we're encouraging our members, which are you guys, to nominate somebody, for this Women Who Rock, spotlight. So when we say we want you to nominate somebody, we want you to nominate somebody that's showing great teamwork, innovation, maybe they're showing a good company culture, or they're mentoring another employee. So basically, if you see somebody making a difference, a person making a difference, we want you to nominate us and tell us why. So to nominate, you would email this email at the bottom of the page here, npwbrg@ups.com. And then we'll announce those winners either on the quarterly meeting calls or via social media or email. And we're really excited about this. We feel like see these inspiring stories of, great, strong leadership by women in the Northern Plains District. So we're really excited about that. Yes. And Lexi says men also rock as well. We're inclusive. All right. Can I have the next page, Maria? Okay. So our first nominee is Kimberly Britton. Kimberly has shown great career advancement at UPS, and her latest promotion this year in 2020 was to Director of Human Resources for the Northern Plains District. So great job. And she was nominated by our leadership team as the first person we're going to spotlight for May of 2020. And I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, and she's going to be able to tell you a story, a little bit about her journey. And afterwards, we're going to allow just a couple of minutes for if anybody has a question for Kimberly. But I want you to put those in the chat function. You have a question, and then we'll try to answer just a few of them at the end. Okay? So, Kimberly, are you ready?
I am. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can.
First of all, thank you so much for the nomination. It's very exciting to hear that I rock. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Just a little bit about myself. I'm going on my 16th year here with the organization. I've spent the last 14 in human resources. I started off as an hourly employee in Atlanta. I moved around quite a bit for me, especially once I made the transition into HR. Everyone was in line for the same opportunities, right? And it came to a point in my career where it was like, I mean, if you want to do more, you're going to have to kind of take some additional initiative to do that and set yourself up into a better position. So when some opportunities presented themselves, I was a full-time supervisor in HR after spending, 5 years as a part-time soup, waiting on that chance, working 2 jobs. And I hear that story a lot, right, even now. And a position opened up or an opportunity to apply for a position in Texas, in Red River, which was in Austin, Texas, a place I'd never gone. Didn't really know anybody, but I mean, hey, again, you ask for additional responsibilities, you say you're ready. I mean, you can't really say no to opportunities as far as I look at it, right? So apply for the job. Long story short, was able to just interview over the phone like 3 different occasions and awarded the opportunity, did a self-reload. Stayed there 3 years. Another opportunity opened up in Atlanta, another self-reload, right? A different function kind of with HR, but for the region. As a talent manager, which really, I think that the year and a few months I spent in that role, again, it may not seem like a lot, but it was a different perspective. It's even helping me a lot in my current role, right? I'm really glad that I took that opportunity. A position opened up here as an HR ops manager last year, and did an interview for that. That did come with the reload. I was very excited. My very first one after like 3 moves. But again, I feel when I interviewed for that role, because I had put myself in a position of getting some outside experience, right? Because you're in your current role. You may have moved a few different times in your current role within the same district, and you think it's all one UPS, and we are. But I'll tell you, a lot of the skill set that I've acquired, I would not have had I just stayed in Atlanta. Because at the time that I was there, I felt like, in Atlanta, if you can make it here in the Pleasantdale facility, I can go anywhere and be successful. It's like a brisk walk in the park, right? And I was very wrong. And also with that, the relationships that I've had the opportunity to develop, I'm still picking up the phone today, actually, right? And calling and getting some additional assistance, mentors that I've been able to acquire throughout my moves. Still talk to them, reach out, get additional assistance. If I just need to talk through some things or whatever that looks like, right? But I feel like that kind of gave me some leverage. The fact that I had received different perspectives from different districts that I could bring to the table. And then, came in, worked really hard. Another opportunity opened up at the beginning of this year for my current role, and was an extreme blessing, and still learning. I actually wake up every day to learn something new and to better myself and to continue that development piece, right? So very fortunate, very blessed to be here. I've had the opportunity to meet most of you, but if I haven't, I'm looking forward to that opportunity. And again, thanks so much. Like, I really do appreciate just the opportunity to speak to you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kimberly. That was great. I just had a question for you. So you kind of spoke a little bit to risk. Like, you did 3 relocations on your own. Maybe I had that wrong, but maybe 2 were on your own, or 1 the company paid for. Can you talk a little bit about, like, how do we face that risk, or like what you did to overcome that? Because, as for me, thinking of moving somewhere else, being away from family, not knowing anybody, what can you tell us that maybe might help us as we think about applying for a position and moving, or the risk involved?
For me, and I'll tell you, even now on my bedroom wall, on a piece of paper that I bought from a drugstore says, fear can't come, right? I mean, was I nervous? Nervous wasn't the word. I was terrified. I'd been in the same district for years. I could walk in there with my eyes closed and run circles, right? I mean, I could do the job. I'd been doing it for a long time. I was very comfortable. But you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable or you can't grow. And again, I always, even today, I'll say, you know, you asked for this, right? If the door opens, it may not have been the way you envisioned it, but how bad do you want it? So I had to shake that, right? I had to get over it and figure out if I want it, then I have to, you know, I moved. I mean, just to be completely honest about it, I could afford 1 week in a hotel. I had to find an apartment. My furniture was in storage. I had to wait to get that out. I was like literally on the floor on an air mattress for like a little over a month. But, you know, those were the sacrifices that I felt were necessary, and they were temporary, right? To get to that next level, I could have chose to sit in Atlanta and wait. I might have still been waiting. So you just kind of have to shake that, you know, figure out what's more important. Do I really want this, and what am I willing to do to get there? Because the reward is greater on the other side.
Great share.
Awesome. Thanks for your honesty there as well. So, all right. So I don't have any more questions at this time. So I'm going to get on to Nicole, and she's going to go over some volunteer opportunities. Kimberly, thank you so much for speaking. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
So I'd like to share just some different volunteer opportunities. I know during the stay-at-home, for many of us that still have that enforced within our states, there's a lot of opportunity to still volunteer online. But before I kind of jump into a lot of the different opportunities we have, I did want to share some of the organizations that the WBRG here in Northern Plains is personally involved with, that we've had members involved with. So I'm first going to ask Maria to talk about an organization that she's personally involved with here in Northern Plains.
Hi, yeah. Dress for Success. Dress for Success is an organization that we've been involved with 10 plus years. They help support women in our community who have had a challenge of some sort or another. They do suit those folks. They give them 3 business outfits to wear to new workplaces. Not only do they do that, but they also do professional intelligence training. Now I've got the job. How do I get to the promotion? Women who start at Dress for Success usually make about an average of $14,000 a year. By the time they go through the Dress for Success program, that salary is approaching $40,000. So it's really a great organization. We do dress. They do 4 sales a year. And the UPS comes in and volunteers. And of course, we have a big impact. We get a lot done in a small amount of time. And so that's a way to help the women right here in our community. I know there's a lot of different satellite locations across the country and actually across the world. So would love, if you're here in the Minnesota or you travel into the Minnesota territory, would love to have you help. We also do some mock interviews for those employees who haven't had interview experience for a while. So it's a great organization. We've had a 10-year relationship. We've been able to offer a lot of funding for devices and office areas for them to make sure and that train their clientele. So would love to have anyone volunteer. There's also going to be a little bit later an opportunity for you to volunteer online, right? We're all sequestered in our home, but we have different opportunities as well to do those activities online to help our people. Next, Jill, would you like to talk about AON?
Yeah, I'll keep AON pretty brief. So AON, I've been involved with AON since 2014, and then the rest of the PE or base function has been involved with them prior to that, and I know security was involved as well. But AON's mission, they're based here in the Minneapolis area, is to create and sustain quality, affordable homes that strengthen lives and communities. Their vision is that every person has a home and is interconnected within the community. Typically, we do a lot of, I'll call it physical volunteer work with them, where we're working, whether it's landscaping, building stairs, a lot of different projects. But recently, with the COVID situation or outbreak pandemic, we have been writing cards for residents. A lot of the residents do not have much for social support other than the AEON folks that work with them. So we've been writing cards, if you have kids, creating artwork, just to let them know that they're not alone, and that the community is here with them and supports them, and we'll get through this together.
Thank you, Jill.
And so I'd like to just talk a little bit about Girls on the Run. This is a great organization that really looks at empowering young girls in developing self-respect and a healthy lifestyle. Specifically, they look at reaching out to girls from grade 3 through grade 8 and put on different programs through an 8-week course that really talk a lot about becoming independent critical thinkers, learning more about themselves, developing their skills to write their own stories, and really finding their inner strength. And it all goes to, leads up to this great 5K run and really promoting that healthy lifestyle. So I can tell you that the WBRG here in Wisconsin, many of our members have been involved over the last several years. I have personally been involved the last 6 years with the WBRG in southeastern Wisconsin. And they have served, the whole organization has served over 1.9 million girls. And I can tell you that Girls on the Run is in every single state here in Northern Plains District. So if you're looking to get involved in something nationally, this is a great opportunity because it, like I said, it reaches each state. I did want to share just a great opportunity they have coming up. It's not too late to sign up. They have a soulmates activity where it's looking at getting out and being healthy, and you can choose anywhere from a 5K to a 10K to a marathon run if you want to. And when I say run, it doesn't necessarily mean run. It can be walking as well. So there's a link there that you can sign up. And essentially, I am signed up. I'm taking my 6-year-old and 8-year-old, and we're going to do our first 5K this weekend. We're going to do it outside, but if you want to do it on your treadmill or you just want to walk in your driveway, you can do that as well. And then you get a great certificate at the end to claim your certificate. So it's a great way to also promote getting out and getting healthy with other people in your family. And so I also wanted to share some other volunteer opportunities with you. So Maria, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide there. So we talked, about there's a lot of opportunity to get out and volunteer online since we can't be, in person helping those. So a couple organizations I wanted to point out. First one was liveyourdreams.org. It's a great women's organization that really is raising awareness and looking at empowering women and girls. There, things for, preparing girls for career success. There's opportunities through education and ending violence against women and children. And they've got a whole sorts of different activities that you can volunteer for to help support their cause. Maria, you can go to the next one. Catchafire.org. This is, a great website to go check out because it has a whole bunch of different organizations that you can check out, and you can let them know specifically, what your expertise would be and how much time you can impact. So whether you want to spend, several hours on a project or maybe an hour of your time, maybe just writing thank you cards. So there's a lot of different variety there. So you can kind of check that out and, pick what fits in your schedule and what fits best. The next organization I want to talk a little bit about is Crisis Text Line. So what this is, it's a crisis text line that's 24/7 open for people to text in the crisis. As you can imagine, with the pandemic we're in, there's a lot of loneliness happening out there, and people just needing someone to talk to or turn to with maybe the different things that are going on in their life. So it's a great organization that you can apply to be trained for free, and you just had to commit 4 hours a week to be a crisis counselor. Another one I found was Amnesty Decoders, Amnesty International. So this is human rights violations globally that you can look at helping them look at exposing human right violations. One of the ones that that caught my interest is they were using volunteers. Again, you're just on your computer, and they're able to flag abusive tweets that were happening to women politicians in India. So a great organization that globally looks at helping human rights. And the last one I want to point out is many of you may have teenagers or young adults that spend a whole lot of time online, and you might complain about that a lot, but there is a lot of good that they can do. And one organization I want to point out that you could have some of those young adults, teenagers in your life check out is dosomething.org. They're really focused on that younger generation of going out and making an impact and volunteering. So I encourage you to have the young people in your life check that out, or you as well. They've got great programs, for instance, like trying to get out and, rock the vote and trying to get people registered to vote. They have a campaign called The Birds and the Bees, not what you probably think, but it's talking about getting the young people to talk to the adults in their life about climate change. Another one they have is making a 5-minute playlist for the shower so it can look at conserving water. So there's a lot of things that really focus on what the younger generation might be looking at, the ways to get them involved. So I encourage you to take a look at some of those. We've got, some of us have some extra time on our hands to spend a Friday night making a real impact to some of these organizations. And certainly in the future, if there's other organizations you want us to mention about volunteer opportunities, you can certainly email us at that npwbrg@ups.com, and we will certainly highlight those as well if you've got an opportunity that you'd like to share.
Thank you for sharing all of that information. Next, Katie Jo, can you make the introduction for us for Jamie?
Absolutely. As you saw earlier, we're going to be utilizing panels, lunch and learns. Our goal is to get a variety of people within our district, outside of the district, and even outside of UPS throughout the year to bless us with their knowledge and get us excited and energized. Jamie fits all of those categories. She's probably more energetic than me, which is saying something. So we're super excited to have Jamie Greger join us today. She is the corporate WLD chair, and I'll just let her chat. Enjoy.
Practicing Zoom etiquette. You have to remember to take yourself off mute. Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here with you today. It has been really awesome to hear about all the amazing things that you're doing this upcoming year. I was so excited when Maria and KJ reached out to me because as corporate WLD chair, one of our big goals this year has been to connect with more WBRGs around the country and around the world, really. And I think that's one of the things that make these business resource groups so neat is we bring together people, and it truly is a global effort. So let's, as I told Maria and KJ, let's keep the synergies going. Let's partner together on some future events, and let's really make this happen. I won't talk for too long today. I know that you're nearing the end of your meeting. I did just want to say a few words about my WLD experience and share a little bit about where the corporate WLD is going. So I joined UPS now almost 3 years ago. And when I joined UPS out of my MBA and with some prior marketing experience, as you can imagine, coming into a company where a lot of times you walk into meetings and people say that they've been here for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, it was a little bit intimidating for someone like me. And joining the WLD or the WBRG really helped to create an instant community for me and helped connect me to a lot of people who made UPS feel a lot smaller and made it feel like I could be empowered as an individual, even only having a month, 2 months, a year under my belt, that I could truly make a difference as well. So I could talk all day about my experiences in WLD. I started on but I'm not going to. I started on the UPS Connections Committee and then ended up chairing that committee last year. And this year I was asked to lead the BRG overall. And it has been such a joy. We have a group of 20 amazing leaders who lead work streams, like many of them you've heard about today. So UPS Connections, where we're doing all sorts of networking events and skills building. Business Connections, where we're really making sure to contribute, being seen as a business leader and as a true partner, especially for our women-owned businesses in the community. Community Connections, where we really work to give back through organizations like Dress for Success, like you all. We also have two other committees that are unique to WLD at corporate. The first is engagement. So really looking at how can we better engage our women across the company and really make sure that the policies and procedures that we have make this a friendly place for women to work. And then the other one that's unique that we stood up this year is membership. And so the membership committee really looks at how do we serve WLD members throughout their entire life cycle at UPS, not just when they're new, when they need to get to know people, not just when they may be looking for that next step in their career, but how can we really serve them from end to end throughout their entire time here at UPS. So that amazing group of 20 women that I spoke about, we put together this word cloud that you see pictured here. And this word cloud is the result of an exercise where I asked everyone to share one word that you hope to get out of the WLD and one word that you would want to contribute to WLD this year. And so I would encourage you all to answer that question for yourself as well. What is it that you hope to get out of WLD, or what is it that you can give? As you can see here, these are some pretty powerful words ranging from sustainability and empowerment to women in technology and insights. And I will share one story that's not mine, but it's one that I'm proud of. And it's around this women in tech piece on WLD. So we have a woman who serves in our leadership who is in the IT function, and she's noticed there's a real lack in the talent pipeline. And it wasn't enough to just start with women at UPS. She saw the need that we needed to be reaching the next generation of IT leaders so that UPS would be an employer of choice. And from there, she has led now 2 women who code events, or girls who code events, where she's really encouraged girls in the community to start coding and to consider IT as an option for themselves in the future. And through her leadership on those initiatives and her involvement in the WBRG, she was just promoted from manager to director. And she cites her involvement in WLD as being one of the catalysts for that promotion, because her leadership saw that she was willing to go the extra mile and really was trying to invest not just in our UPSers today, but in the future talent pipeline for UPS. So I think I've talked enough. As I'm sure you can get the sense, I love WLD, WBRG, whatever we want to call it. And I have just been super fired up about my experiences. I'm happy to answer any questions if people have them about the corporate WLD, or I can pass it back over to you all to close the meeting.
I don't see anything in the chat, Jamie, but if anyone has a quick question and wants to take themselves off mute, feel free. We have a few minutes here.
The group constantly talks and it's everybody's silent now, right? This is not.
Hey, I'm at the end. I got the tough spot.
Stephanie?
What was that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I know this isn't a quiet group. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I think Jamie's got kind of a unique perspective on WBRG, and WLD is what I'm used to as well, but it kind of, it changed a bit, but I frequently go WLD as well. But anybody have any questions? Because I think this is Jamie's presenting a unique perspective. You don't always see the corporate chairs on the call. And any questions you may have about the different subcommittees, really, she's here to help answer those for you.
Jamie, I guess I do have a question in the respect, when you're talking about membership and some of those pieces, everybody is so hectic and busy in their lives. Can you speak to that membership piece?
Sure, I can speak to it as much as we've learned so far, and that's certainly an evolving piece since we just started that committee this year. But what that committee is really looking at is how can we make sure that we're meeting members where they're at? And right now, one of the first things they're tackling is how can we make our events more remote worker friendly? It was something that we had been talking about before all this craziness, because we do have some corporate employees that are remote, but now it's something that we really had to consider based on current events. And so that group has really been working to challenge the other committee members whenever they post an event, start talking about an event. How can we make this virtual? Can we include a Zoom link? If it's not appropriate to include a Zoom link, can we create a set of takeaways or provide some next steps that people who are unable to make the meeting can participate in? One example of this in action is that in January, we hosted our WBRG Kickoff, and it was an overview of the activities that we were going to be hosting this year, but we also featured a panel of 4 women senior leaders, and was moderated by our Vice President of Transformation, Matt Parkey. And what we did is, for that panel, not only did we include a Zoom link so that it was more accessible in the moment, but we created a list of takeaways and even had an activity after. One of the speakers brought a pie chart that showed how she broke out her responsibilities to make sure that she wasn't committing to things or overcommitting. And so we sent that out and encouraged our members, fill this out, keep the dialogue going.
Very cool. Jamie is very communicative and loves to talk, as you know, WLD and questions. If you have questions you want to ask or things you want to bring to us as a team to communicate with Jamie, just shoot us an email, shoot us a text message or phone call anytime. Thank you so much for your perspective and sharing your history and just coming on and joining us after your work hours. It's really appreciated. And I love that you said synergy. So keeping the relationship going with the corporate team, we're really excited about that and the things that we can share together. So thank you so much, Jamie. Maria, before we close it out, I think we'll kick it over to Tom for his words of wisdom here and then give everyone the challenge.
I don't know if I'd go so far as words of wisdom, but I do have a few words. First, I'll say, as I'm going through this list of people here, I'm excited about this opportunity to share as the staff chair with Jill, but I am a bit jealous, right? So buildings and system engineers have this great new acronym that I think it's the only one that actually contains a small letter in the acronym, BASC. And then when you get promoted to the director, you become DBASE. So that's a really cool title, Jill. But I do want to say a couple things. Congratulations, Kimberly, you rock. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us today. And then thank you, Nicole, Maria, Lexi, Shelley, and KJ for your leadership and the time you put together for this meeting. But I'm really excited about the WLD mission to be an advancement platform for women at UPS and to translate women's voices into unique points of view into business innovation and growth opportunity. And I took a little time in advance of this today to do a little bit of research. I'm a big believer in diversity and inclusion. I've got 2 studies I wanted to share. The first is from a study from Northwestern University and BYU. And they examined what happens when you have groups of old timers and newcomers, and it's got nothing to do with age. But the researchers created groups of old timers, in this case, students from the same fraternity or sorority, and brought in newcomers with either a similar background or an unfamiliar background. And the groups were tasked with solving a murder mystery. The groups with more diverse sets of participants were more likely to correctly identify the murderer than those in the uniform members. The interesting part of this study, though, it found that even the more diverse groups did better. They felt less confident. Bringing in new opinions made them question themselves and their outcomes, but their outcomes were the right ones. And I think about Jamie's comments about her being here 3 years and a new UPSer and kind of that apprehension. That's one of the components why I'm so excited to be part of this team. The other, to keep a Big Ten theme, an economics professor at the University of Michigan, Dr. Scott Page, was teaching a class on systems analysis. And he wanted to prove the value of this seemingly obscure field to the students in the class. So he designed a simulation to show that groups of very able people, which he's from the University of Michigan, I live in Michigan, I know how that University of Michigan believes they're very able. But the people in the class would outperform able and more diverse groups, smart people who were not in that class. However, Page's study did not show what he wanted. It showed instead that the diverse groups could outperform the very able groups. What did the diverse group beat the very able groups? Because they were open to a range of solutions not considered by the very able students. So again, I go back to the mission of translating women's voices and unique points of view into business innovation and growth opportunities. I can't think of a more important time in the history of this company with what we're going through with COVID for that to be the reality. So I'm excited as we continue to charge forward here on what we can do as a team in order to do that. So I got, thanks.
Last slide here, I promise. I know that we're running right up here a little after 5. Where to find us? We have email, we have YouTube. We're recording this meeting. So if you know of people who couldn't attend the meeting but can watch that at a later time, we now have our own YouTube. We have Twitter, we have UPS Go. We're super excited to get rolling. As you have seen, there are great co-chairs and staff sponsors that touch every corner of our Northern Plains district. We look forward in sharing ideas within our community events and just being part of a program to do more to support the women in our district. Any questions before we go?
I would just say, if you missed the challenge in the last slide, find someone who's not necessarily close to you, who you do not have a relationship with yet. Yet being the key word here. And reach out to them. We're going to start building rapport among the group.
And don't forget, we are looking for those Women Who Rock nominations. We welcome those stories and we look forward to the personal connections. Thank you everyone for joining the call and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.